How would you like to have Cedric Gibbons nude on your mantelpiece?
It's not Stanley Gibbons, the philatelist.
No! He's a Hollywood figure, remarkable Hollywood figure, Cedric Gibbons. He was the premier art director stroke production designer of Hollywood for MGM. And in 1928, he was asked to design something. What might that have been? No.
The Oscar.
Thank you. Oh. The Oscar. And not only did he design it, he won 11 of them. He was nominated for 36 and won 11. Almost all Oscars, as you know, were won by Walt Disney, who won how many?
109.
26.
20, yeah.
And Cedric Gibbons won 11, and all the rest went to Emma Thompson. Oh, look, she is. Oh,
lovely winning smile.
Do you remember which one that was? Sense and Sensibility or Howard's Way?
Howard's Way.
I nearly said Howard's Way.
That interesting boat script I wrote.
But you were nominated for 3 others.
Yes.
Do you remember what they were?
Remains of the Day, In the Name of the Father.
Best Supporting Actress. And you were also nominated for Sense and Sensibility as Best Supporting Actress.
I forgot.
I can remember all the GCSEs I did. I would definitely remember every Oscar nomination. I think when, like, the rest of my brain had melted, I fed through a tube, those 5 names of films would still come out.
I made an Oscar. I actually made a genuine Oscar. I went to the factory in Chicago where they were made.
Is it a mould, like a jelly mould?
Well, there is a mould, but it's pure metal Britannium.
Well, you have to hew it.
Yeah.
Well, you buff it.
If you have to,
a damn good buffing.
If you have to hew it, I mean, I'm not being rude, but if I was winning an Oscar this year, I'd say, can I have one of the ones made by the professional? That was Stephen Fry balls that.
I was well
wonky.
supervised. Alan, be honest, have you ever enjoyed a shower in chocolate sauce?
So, is this a euphemism?
It emphatically is not. And everybody's to put away those thoughts.
No, I've put my hand in a chocolate fountain.
Oh. We are almost certain you have enjoyed a shower in chocolate sauce.
Oh.
Oh, hello.
I was so drunk, Sandy.
And I suspect that most of you have, not necessarily all of you.
It sounds a niche area of interest, certainly.
Well, let's think of films that have got showers in them. And
Psycho.
Yeah.
did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was a good film.
Yeah. And the shower scene is the pivotal scene.
Oh, because
I know
it's
what
black
you're
and
gonna
white.
say.
It's
That's
black and white.
The
yeah.
water doesn't read on film.
The water
No,
does.
it's the blood. The blood is...
It was a chocolate sauce.
Bosco chocolate.
Bosco's chocolate sauce was used for the blood. And actually, talking as we were earlier of editing, one of the reasons it is the most famous scene, possibly, that Hitchcock directed, and one of the most famous scenes in all cinema, is that it contains 77 different camera angles and 50 cuts and lasts only 3 minutes. And I've done this. I've sat there counting the number of cuts in 3 minutes.
Wow, you must get out, Stephen,
Cineac.
really.
Because films
Sitting
are...
next to you at the cinema, like...
No, not in the cinema.
Who's Paul Rain Man with him?
50 cuts there! Stop the clock.
When I was a kid in the States, we used to have ice cream with Bosco chocolate sauce on it. And you couldn't serve it without going, It was the
Oh,
sort
so
of
you all
noise.
knew? Yeah,
so it was
that's
the
right. Have you seen Psycho?
I have not, no.
You see, your generation, you just don't go for the classics.
great.
Because it's black and white, you go...
I'm waiting for it to come out on Twitter, and then I'll...
Exactly.
The sound of the stabbing, I think, was a knife in a melon.
Absolutely right. And actually, Hitchcock first wanted the scene to be just, as they say, effects. In other words, the sound of the water, the sound of the shower curtain being torn, and the sound of the knife going into the cassava melon. But his favourite composer, who composed a lot of his films, Bernard Herrmann, wrote this astounding score with these jagged things and begged him to listen to the version with it. And Hitchcock said, "You're right," and actually doubled his pay on the movie.
Hitchcock sounds like Jeremy from Top Gear.
Sounds exactly like that. You're right. You're right. Yes. Just 2 seconds in and you're nursing a semi. Everybody was against him making the film. He'd just made North by Northwest, one of his most lavish, colourful, beautiful, extraordinary thrillers, and he wanted to be known for a different kind of film because he was always experimenting, always trying different things.
That film is so clever, Psycho, because you're with Janet Leigh all the way from the beginning. She hatches this plan, she's got this money, she's on the run.
Steals 40 grand.
You can't wait to see what's going to happen. And then she's gone halfway through the film.
Oh, thanks for spoiling it.
I don't feel I have, really. No, we didn't. Given the picture of her being murdered in the shower.
Do you remember the last shot of the shower scene? Just to get really nerdy.
What is it? Isn't it the eye and the...
That's right. Her head's sideways down. It's all the shots are... There's no long shots. All mid-shots and mostly close-ups. And he was so concerned to get it right that there just wasn't time for her to get accustomed to these contact lenses that would give her dilated pupils, which freshly stabbed people have, apparently. And so that was the one inaccuracy he was rather annoyed with. But no one wanted to make the film. Paramount said no, they wouldn't make it. He said, all right, then I'll make it in black and white to be cheaper. And they said, no. He said, well, I'll use my TV crew. He used a TV crew to make it, not a film crew. And one of the most successful movies of all time. It was nominated for Best Picture, Oscar, you know, and...
It's
marvellous.
worth seeing, Trevor, but not with Stephen.
No.
Sorry. Danny will take you.
Do you know, this evening has changed my life.
Have you heard this before?
In the green room about half an hour.
Tom and Jerry.
You might have heard it in Tom and Jerry, actually. You might well.
It's a sound effect scream that has been library stocked and is used repeatedly.
Johnny, 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 I'm going to have to give you points. This is right. It's been used in, it's estimated, about 140 movies, including every Indiana Jones movie, every Star Wars movie. It's been used in...
Likely lads.
Madagascar, Planet of the Apes, Lord of the Rings, only two of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, not all three, oddly enough. Toy Story.
How disappointed they were.
I don't know.
We're going to have to go elsewhere for the third film.
Reservoir Dogs. It's in Batman Returns, Poltergeist.
Just use it for a joke, then. Have we got to use that scream?
You're kind of right. It was used as a stock scream, and a guy called Ben Burt, who was a young, up-and-coming sound effects editor, heard it in lots of films, and he is now a very successful sound editor, and he and his friends make it a point, whenever they sound edit a film, to put this scream in somewhere. Hence, it is in all kinds of movies. On YouTube, someone has compiled 23 different films with the scream, showing the scream in it. We can't show it because we'd have to pay all kinds of money, but I wish we could. Anyway, it's believed to be a man called 𝘘𝘶𝘪𝘵 singing, and it starts on the note of C. There's 𝘘𝘶𝘪𝘵. It descends through 4 semitones to G sharp, and he used it in a film called Distant Drums in 1951. It's called the Wilhelm scream for some reason, and you can hear it again. C, semitones, G sharp.
It's quite a warm scream, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's not... You're not really traumatised by it.
Yeah.
No.
It's not as if he'd been raped by a warthog or anything. The most ubiquitous line of film dialogue, do you know what that was? Apparently this line, a survey of 150 American feature films from 38 to 74, showed it was used at least once in 84% of Hollywood productions, more than once in 17%.
Is it... Why are you telling me this?
That's a very good one, because that is one of the really annoying cliches, isn't it? Like, the other one that really annoys me is, don't you die on me.
Oh.
Which almost never means actually on the person.
Yeah. I've got a bad feeling about this. Oh, shut up.
Is that an order, sir?
Yeah.
Well, since you asked me, Lieutenant, yes, it is.
Oh, the one that always really want to punch is when they're, you know, they're about to go on an operation and they go, showtime.
Oh, yeah. No.
Oh,
This is what we trained for.
Gentlemen, we have a situation here.
Yeah.
Or the other one that really drives me mad is, I'm getting too old for this shit. Oh. Christ. Christ. Anyway, apparently the line is, let's get out of here.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, what you heard was the Wilhelm scream, the most ubiquitous sound effect.
Now, here's a killer question for you, Alan. We're both actors. Why are we so grotesquely overpaid?
Market forces. We're not in charge of the distribution of wealth.
Any excuse we can think of. Well, what profession within the film industry might think that they're responsible entirely for the way an actor conveys...
Screenwriters?
The screenwriter certainly has a lot, as far as the story is concerned, but they can't control, as it were, what an audience reads into an actor's eyes.
So the
Cameraman?
The editor.
In a way, the editor, yeah. And in 1919, when cinema was being born, there was a filmmaker called 𝘘𝘶𝘪𝘵, and he proposed putting together a film in which you saw an actor looking at things, and you noticed that the audience read into the actor different emotions according to what they're looking at.
So yeah, it's the idea that they're looking, you know, we think, oh, they're looking melancholy because they're looking at something.
Or they're looking hungry
because they're looking hungry. Yeah,
exactly.
But the actor's actually not changed.
It's exactly the same shot as the actor.
Oh,
and this
that's the trick of acting. All actors know that.
Yes, is not to act.
If in doubt, don't do anything at all.
And directors will tell you. Milos Forman famously shouts, "Stop acting! Somebody is acting here!"
There's a famous Bogart one, and at the end he looks down on some carnage, and everyone was very impressed by the emotions he portrayed. But the shot had been done much later, and the camera went down low, he stood up on a balcony, and the director said, "Look bored."
Yes. And yeah, it works like that.
And they cut it in.
It's extraordinary how that is. It's the effect, it's the timing of the story, it's what the actor seems to be looking at, and it's the audience that does the work. They read the emotion into the face. Oh, that's... We've actually cut our own together, so you can see here. What's this emotion?
Confusion.
Oh, he's looking hard at something. Can you believe it's true? Oh, no. Arsenal have lost again. What a beautiful bike. There you are. Proof positive as if it were needed. Anyway, thanks to the Kuleshov effect, good acting, maybe just good editing. Why don't pigeons like going to the movies? Yes, Bill?
Well, I don't know. Pigeons don't go to the movies. There's nothing much is made with them in mind, really. Pigeons are much more into sort of German expressionism.
How long does a pigeon live? What's the lifespan of a pigeon?
You've got me there.
9, 10 years?
They live a fair
I mean, they could only go and see a You film anyway.
That's true. That's very true.
Birds don't fly at night, do they? I mean, they do in some cities, but generally, can't see where they're going. Owls do, but they don't go to the pictures either.
Yeah, they do. They spend the whole time looking at
So they can only go in the day to a You film. You're narrowing it down.
Richard?
Because they're allergic to popcorn. Quite literally. Open-air cinemas, drive-ins where I grew up, pigeons exploded from eating popcorn. So it's...
becoming increasingly hard to verify.
It is very hard to verify, because you grew up in Swaziland.
Yeah. Pigeon country.
Is it? Are a lot of pigeons in Swaziland?
A lot.
Oh, damn, it's so convincing. It's not true, but I really like it. What would happen if a pigeon looked at a film?
The eyes on the side of the head.
Like that? No.
And the fact that...
No.
It'd have to perch on the back of a chair like that, and they can't see anything straight ahead, so it'd have to keep looking from side to side.
Not that. Pigeons have extraordinarily good eyes.
Do they?
Yes. Homing pigeons.
They can see their home from across the channel.
No, but they can see landmarks from high up.
So look, there's my house.
No. Landmarks they see very well indeed from high up, like a lot of birds, of course, like birds of prey. They're reckoned to have eyesight at least 10 times better than ours, but not only
So
that...
does that mean they'd prefer to see it on DVD with...
How does film work?
And, you know.
How does film work?
Lots
Movie
of
film.
pictures going really
Going
quickly.
very fast.
Really quickly to us.
But to them, they're thinking, why is it going so
To them, it's a slideshow. It's a slow slideshow. They don't... We see 24, 25 frames a second as movement. They would need, it has been calculated, and maybe it has even been demonstrated, they would need 250 frames a second, 10 times faster, in order for it to be a coherent image that moved. So they would be bored stiff by a
So they're
slideshow.
sitting there, they're watching The Matrix and they're thinking, when is something going to happen? What is this, a merchant ivory film? What's going on?
Who is funding research into what pigeons like?
Lines of pigeons in the pictures.
Don't you know? Pigeons have saved many lives as carriers in wars right up even to the Second World War.
So we're rewarding them with a cinema.
We are rewarding ourselves by researching into all kinds of interesting pigeon-related data.
When they sit in and the Pathé News chicken comes out, do they all go, bah!
James Bond's job.
He was a secret agent.
Is that what you want? Yeah. No, in the British Secret Service, an agent is an informant to what Bond was, which was an intelligence officer.
You know how he got the job, Sean Connery? He went for the audition and then he walked away and the producers watched him out of the window.
And Fleming was present.
And Ian Fleming, I was about to say that. Ian Fleming was present. And he walked away and they said he walked like a panther.
Yep.
Which, when you think about it, would be on all fours.
Yeah.
And would make him look like a ruddy lunatic. Not the sort of man you want botching up the schedule on an expensive film. Oh, look at him, he's doing it again. Sean, please, get up.
There are no chestnuts down there, Sean, baby. But, no, he does have a fabulously lithe walk, didn't he?
What's the difference between your walk and your gait? Is it the same thing?
Not exactly, is it? The gait is the sort of picture, the angle, it's the signature of your walk. You can recognise someone by their gait.
Can your gait be when you're stood
still? They can be still.
I recognise her by her gait.
Yeah.
You know who's got the funniest walk, I think, always is Liam Gallagher.
Oh, yes.
He's got that walk that you do, you know, when you're 17, you're out with your mates and you do that down the way, maybe you don't, but I really do it sort of slightly. But he still does it, and he's, what, about 47 now?
You know, well, Mick Jagger still does his...
Struts, he's got
whatever you want to call
cockerel
it.
strut.
I imagine that he grew up in a house with a very narrow doorway.
Where's Noel Gallagher's house was all French windows.
Yeah. They had it all knocked through. But Mick had a lot of those funny little half-opening doors.
Excellent. There you are, that's it. You see, the security services...
Still enjoying it.
It's only one more. No, it's good. He is virtually arseless, isn't he, Mick Jagger? He has no bottom. It's really
Apparently,
odd.
someone else who's arseless is Ian McShane.
Is he arseless?
Told on quite good authority by a costume person.
Really?
It came up in conversation. Someone was saying, "Oh, Deadwood's very good. Have you seen Deadwood?" And someone just went, "No bum."
He must have. Mechanically, he must have something.
Folds himself. He's got an anus. I'm sure he's got an anus.
They have to,
all right, yeah.
No buttocks. It's fascinating.
That's the point.
Flat.
It's a nightmare for a dresser, because they keep falling... They have to staple his trousers.
He has to have a little dress to go behind him with all the scenes, just holding them up.
You put a little pelmet across there and just hang them from then.
You could. Arse helmet. The security services actually call their staff officers, agents or informants who are not members of staff.
I love, love, love the music to James Bond. Let's have a quick listen to the original James Bond theme. The composer is a man called Monty Norman, and it actually comes from a song about a man with an unlucky sneeze, which he reworked into the James Bond theme. It was originally called Bad Sign, Good Sign, and it didn't sound at all like the original song. Have a listen to this.
Can I have some onion barges, please?
I was born with this unlucky sneeze, and what is worse, I came into the world the wrong way round.
Okay,
This is surely bullshit.
This is true. V.S. Paul's novel, A House for Mr. Biswas, is a wonderful novel, and Mr. Biswas has a terrible sneeze, and it's unlucky for him. And Monty Norman wrote a musical version of this, which was not a huge success. He was later hired to write the music for the first Bond film, which was Dr. No. He reworked the theme tune into the James Bond theme tune, so we thought we'd do a bit of, I'm going to call it karaoke, because it starts with a Q. we're going to try and see if we can sing the original James Bond theme tune, so the words are going to come up on the screen for you. That's what we're going to do. I was born with this unlucky sneeze, and what is worse, I came into the world the wrong way round. It's all agreed I'm the reason why I fell into the village pond and drowned.
No. No. You know what? I now don't believe you when you say it wasn't a huge hit.
Yeah.
Now I can't understand.
I'd rather watch that than James Bond.
You fell into the village pond and drowned.
It's a very sad story.
Is it a true story?
No. Which train did the murder on the Orient Express take place?
The Orient Express.
You're a good sport. You're a very good
Thank you so
sport.
much. Well, sometimes, you know, they go, yes,
Yes,
that's correct.
is correct.
But never when I say it.
No. The murder took place on an Orient Express, but not the one that you are thinking of. So,
Well, no, we're thinking of the one that the murder took place on.
I'm sorry, I didn't know you lived inside my brain.
Well, there were several train services in the 1930s which included the words Orient Express in the name.
Yeah, and those are the ones we were thinking of.
Well, what is the full name of the one where the murder took place, then?
We were thinking of the one where it took place. We don't have to say the name of it. We just, all of us, demand the points.
Sorry, there were lots of different Orient Expresses. Agatha Christie's took place on the Simplon.
Simplon Orient Express, yes. Yes.
Yes. Named after...
It's Peter Express, I don't know.
The Simplon Orient Express, named after the Alpine Tunnel, and that linked Calais and Paris and Istanbul every day. There is a different train service, commonly known as the Orient Express, and that only carried Paris-Istanbul cars 3 times a week.
I didn't even know that one exists.
Have you been on it?
No.
Oh, it's the most marvellous experience. It's absolutely fantastic.
Is it?
Yeah, it really is worth it. It's eye-wateringly expensive, but you get a butler of your own, and I took my mother for her birthday, and the butler came along and he said, "Good evening, madam, my name is Tybalt." And you just think, wow, the guy from Romeo and Juliet is going to service me.
Was there Wi-Fi or 3G on the Orient Express? That, for me, is generally the...
No.
That's what they meant. There's no Wi-Fi. It is murder on the Orient Express.
Bullets are there in a gunslinger's revolver?
7, 5.
12 stones, all outside.
6.
Well, 6, they're called 6 guns, and they have, as you noticed, 6
But there were
chambers.
6 in and 1 in the spout, isn't that?
No, it's not. It's quite the other way round.
5.
You're right, 5. Why 5?
Gravity.
Well, it's simply safety. Wyatt Earp, who one can be regarded as something as an expert, he said, "I've often been asked why 5 shots without reloading were all the top-notch gunfighter ever fired with, 5, when his guns were chambered for 6. The answer is safety. The hammer rested on the empty chamber, so it could never discharge by mistake because there was no safety catch on it there. And there, of course, the great Clint Eastwood. I did a thing in America once, and there was an armourer who's the film guy who gives you the gun and everything and takes it away and keeps you safe and gives you blanks or whatever. And he told me a fact. He'd been doing it since the 30s. He'd been working on westerns. He said only 2 actors he ever worked with, and he worked with them all, didn't blink when they fired a gun. This is actually, oddly enough, a shot of Clint exactly proving he was one of them, because the gun's going off and his eyes are open, as much as they ever were. And he was one. He never blinked. John Wayne blinked, you know, Anthony Quinn, Gary Cooper. Who's the other?
Kenneth Williams.
Carry on, cowboy. Yes, it goes wide open. The idea of those butch American armourers called Rusty and Randy, whatever, having heard of Kenneth Williams. It was your own guy, Kenneth goddamn Williams. No,
bravest guy I ever
It's
knew.
actually Westworld is probably the Western most people would think of. Yul Brynner, yeah. Yul Brynner never blunk. So anyway, the answer is they have 5 bullets. Not.
Which of these men here, the 2 men you see, well, 3 in fact, which one just held up a stagecoach, used bad language in front of a lady, drinks whiskey, and chases people from right to left?
The one with the black hat.
Is the right answer. So what is the history of this? Why do you think?
I don't know. Is that it then? Black hats for bad guys and white hats for good guys?
And unshaven, and there's even a direction they cross the screen.
I just remember being a kid, and every Saturday night, usually there'd be a Western on BBC.
Yeah.
And my dad would helpfully point out, that's the bad guy. The one who's going...
In the 50s, it was 8 out of 10 of the top 10 programmes on prime time national American television were Westerns. The only 2 that weren't were comedies. It's just extraordinary.
Carried on. We grew up with Alias Smith and Jones and Champion the Wonder Horse.
Yeah. Yes.
It was a bit of a letdown, Champion the Wonder Horse, because it was a great title sequence.
Champion the Wonder Horse.
That's kind of all he did, really, wasn't it?
In the end, you know, he's a horse.
If it cut to Champion bringing a blind person shopping, that was a significantly better show than what he did.
He never used it in much more than knock a door down by kicking it. That was sort of his.
That was kind of his thing,
shtick.
like.
Had they known, they just put one of these on his top lip and he's useless. Come on, Champion! Oh, God.
But it's really practical, partly because you've got a small black and white television in those days, with not necessarily the high res that we expect in our digital age. And so you can just see the black hat and the white hat, and you know who's... And there are lots of chases, who's riding after whom. You instantly know which is the goodie and the baddie. And also, the right-to-left business is quite crucial, that the baddie goes this way, which in screen terms is... right to left, right, and the goodie goes left to right, which means his gun is favoured, is facing the camera. Well, this is useless for anybody under the age of 50 with no idea what we're talking about. It's a peculiar, elderly nostalgia show on Westerns. But
any of these surely have all the plethora of channels. There could just be one Western channel just with these old programmes going on all day.
That's true.
Casey Jones I'd like to have on, Champion the Wonder Horse, Alias Smith and Jones. Just on a loop.
You could just call it... be a channel called Alan.
Alan. There's Dave. Why not Alan?
It's perfect.
It's a much better channel.
Just all the things that you like.
And it wouldn't have bloody 𝑘𝑗 on all Horse operas, they're sometimes called, aren't they, Westerns? But do you know what insiders call them in Hollywood?
No.
Oters. Oters, as in horses eating oats, I guess. They're known as oters. Yeah. So, yes, horse operas come and go. They may be simple, but at least you know where you stand.
Now, a question on pronunciation. Who would like to hear my Katharine Hepburn impression?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Listen to me, mister. You're my knight in shining armour, and you're gonna get back on that horse, and I'll be right behind you. Where is that accent from?
The South in America?
Oh, no, not from America at all.
Is it going to be Danish?
No, but if you were somewhere between Denmark and the United States...
Mid-Atlantic.
Yes, absolutely right, Nikki. It is the Mid-Atlantic
That's not a country.
No, it's not. So the point is, it's not from anywhere. It was so named because it was halfway between the US and the British accent, and it was the accent in Hollywood films before sort of 1950. It was designed to be vaguely sort of British and aristocratic, and it was thought that it sounded appropriately posh.
They used to, in drama schools, train accents out of people. Yeah. Like, when I went to drama school, they didn't, though I still have this strong English accent now. Yeah, but they used to, like, knock off all the edges. It's how people ended up speaking all the time like these. Yeah. That's how British people spoke.
But it was a thing in Hollywood films. There was a voice coach called Edith Skinner. She was actually a Canadian. And in the 1930s, she taught this as good speech or Eastern Standard speech. You're talking about Katharine Hepburn, you're talking about Betty Davis, Vincent Price. They all learned to speak that way. Probably my favourite movie of all time, Some Like It Hot. Tony Curtis in that movie. He pretends doing a sort of Cary Grant impression. And it still occasionally surfaces today. So 𝘘𝘶𝘪𝘵 used it in Frasier. Yeah. That was one of his things.
I got told that I had the worst Hindi accent that an English person had had on film. I am half Indian, by the way. I'm not going to be racist right now. But I was doing films and TV in Bombay, and I was told that my accent was totally the epitome of a British's bad Hindi accent. Oh, no. And that's from somebody who used the word epitome. And it's like, get your emphasis right, and then we can talk about accent. You didn't record sync sound, because there's too much noise in Bombay. So it would all be done in the dubbing. So if you make a mistake or fuck up, they just go, dubbing mein ho jayega. So it'll be done in the dubbing. So actually, you could pretty much do anything if you could lip sync. But I had somebody sitting there who would deliver me the dialogue, and I was told to, like, look into middle distance and say things like, Unka falaudi talwar mazboot hai, which means his steel sword is very strong. God knows what that actually meant. And then I'd wait and stare a little bit longer, listen to the next dialogue and deliver it. That's how I acted.
What kind of things were you in?
I want to see the rushes with the other...
Well, the Mid-Atlantic accent was used by lots of villains, so you get Jafar in Aladdin, Cruella de Vil has it, Darth Vader has it, the Evil Queen in Snow White. Anyway, is anybody a fan of Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
So the guy who came up with the technology, Gamgee...
Samwise Gamgee.
Yes,
Frodo's best friend.
So...
Who never let him down, no matter what anyone said.
I'll stay with you, Master Frodo. Give me your hand.
Yeah, what I do.
I don't know if I fancy you more or less, Mel.
I'm going to go with less.
Okay. Hados Hedos, Legolas. That's sit down, Legolas.
It's definitely less.
Anyway, he is named
After that man?
No, not after him, after his brother. His brother was called J. Samson Gamgee,
Yeah.
and he is the person who invented that surgical dressing where you get cotton wool between two pieces of absorbent gauze.
Oh, yeah.
And so he was known as Samson Gamgee, and Sam Gamgee is most likely that Tolkien got the name from him, which is my connection between the Hobbits and ice skating just for you as a Christmas present.
Brilliant.
I auditioned for The Hobbit.
What? Did you? I don't know if I fancy you more or more.
Yeah, well, I didn't get it.
To be what, then?
The Hobbit.
Bilbo, you auditioned to be Bilbo Baggins.
I auditioned to be Bilbo Baggins, and the day before...
I'm going to blow your mind now, but go on, carry on.
They brought down the maximum height. And my agent phoned me, she said, how tall are you? And I said, I'm 5'6.5". And
How tall do you want me to be? That's what you said. Never accept the premise of the question. Find out what they want.
So you didn't go?
No, they said we brought down the maximum height, but I still qualified. I was short enough to be a Hobbit.
And?
I went. And I was dog shit.
I also auditioned for something in that.
Did you?
Yeah. They said you'll be 4 hours a day in makeup in New Zealand. Is that OK? And I went, yep.
How tall are you?
How tall do you want me to be?
I went for a part for Frodo.
Did you?
Yeah, and they went, you're a bit tall, you look more like an elf, get out.
I really wanted an audition.
You're the right size and everything.
I don't think you'd have been professional on set.
I wouldn't have been.
Yeah,
I would have been
been
so
like,
excited.
can someone remove this crying woman, please?